guys, so up until I was 14 years old, I was studying 2 instruments at the same time. I started the piano when I was 7, and I started the flute when I was 8. I have mentioned on this channel before that I started the piano because of my brother. I was just really inspired by him and I just wanted to follow in his footsteps. We had sort of your typical Chinese auntie teacher for the first couple years, but after a while, she told us that she felt that she couldn't keep teaching my brother because my brother was starting to get pretty advanced. My mom didn't want to take us to 2 different teachers. So when my brother was applying to study with Carmencita Aspiris, who I also did an interview with on this channel a long time ago, she begged her to listen to me too. I don't even remember what I played for her. I only remember being super nervous. So I played for her, and right then and there, she accepted both of us. I wasn't just going to piano lessons just for piano lessons. We were taking what was called the Certificate of Merit examinations. I think they're only in California. So we had practical piano exams and we had theory exams. If we did well on the practical exam, we would be invited to play for some sort of like an honorary piano convention performance. My brother got invited to do that, I think like once or twice. On top of that, both my brother and I were taking other instrument lessons. So my brother was taking trumpet lessons and I was taking flute lessons. Again, we weren't just going to lessons to go for lessons. We went to our local youth symphony. So Monday evenings were rehearsals. We had a couple of hours. Tuesday afternoons were my flute lessons. Wednesday afternoons were our piano lessons back to back. If I am correct, I think Thursday afternoon were my brother's trumpet lessons because we're a pastor's family. So Friday we had fellowship, church fellowship. Saturday was spent catching up on all our homework and projects and stuff like that. And then Sunday was church. Pretty much all day because we have to go there to set up early and then we had to stay late to tear down. And then the rest of the time was spent catching up on the rest of your homework. While doing all of this, we were also preparing for the annual CMEA Solo Ensemble Festival. It wasn't really so much of a competition as it was a grading system. So you would go in and perform for a judge. There was a grading system of command performance, which means that you are invited again to perform for a bigger audience. And then there's like excellent, good, fair, and like needs improvement. As you can tell, things started to feel pretty heavy after a while, especially because my flute playing started to get more and more advanced. I was starting to do showpieces, concertos. By the time I was 12 or 13, my parents had this discussion with me because they noticed that my flute playing was advancing so quickly, but my piano playing was good. You know, I practiced and I did my part, but naturally it wasn't clicking for me the way flute was. Finally, after a lot of discussion, we came to the conclusion that, you know, Joe, maybe you should stop studying the piano. Now, we didn't really like this idea because we actually really liked my piano teacher, all of us. My parents, my brother, and I, like our family, we adore our piano teacher, Carmencita Aspiris. She was really molding us to be artists. I felt like if I left her, then I wouldn't know where else to go as an artist, as a musician. I didn't want to lose her, but at the same time, the workload was getting so high that I was just barely getting everything done, including school stuff. We dragged it out for a while. Finally, we decided to give our piano teacher a call and arrange for us to have a meeting to discuss my future plans with music. So of course, I mean, like when you word it like that, your teacher is always going to know what's up, that this is just the precursor to say, I'm quitting. I remember having this discussion at her place, I think after a lesson or something. We really did think that she would at least try to convince me to keep studying the piano and just not do exams, maybe slower pace or a lower workload. But she really listened to us. This entire time, she actually was not in the dark about how I was doing on the flute. I think, looking back now, I think she knew it was coming. She actually told us that I need to follow my heart. And if flute is what is in my heart, then I should follow that. She was like, as long as you're going to work hard, as long as you're going to keep up your passion for the flute and for music, she was like, I don't care that you have to leave my studio. It wasn't like she was saying, oh, you want to play the flute, well then I'm kicking you out of my studio. She did say that she's very sad to lose me as a student, but at the same time she knew that it was futile to hold on to me. We breathed a huge sigh of relief. I don't remember abruptly stopping lessons. I think we just kind of polished up the pieces that I was currently studying, but we didn't start any new ones. As it happens, those last few pieces that I studied under her are two of the pieces that I still play on piano today. I still haven't let go of them. Looking back on this situation, I think the only reason why this conversation we had with our teacher was not awkward was because on both sides we were willing to be completely open and to explain fully and calmly what is going on, and both parties are fully 100% listening to each other. When I became a teacher years and years after that, I look back on this conversation and I realized that my piano teacher did a few pretty amazing things. Number one, she didn't see her instrument as like the instrument of the gods. When you are in the music world and you play a specific instrument as your main instrument, you will undoubtedly run into some teachers who think that their instrument is the best instrument, and if you go and try other instruments, you are betraying the instrument of the gods. Unfortunately, a lot of people think this, even though if you think about it rationally, it makes zero sense. But the thing is, musicians are not exactly the most rational people on earth. There's a reason why they're musicians. We're very in touch with our emotions, and a lot of times we are way too in touch with our emotions, and it goes way overboard, and then you end up with people who think these kinds of things. I know now that I am so lucky to have had a piano teacher who knows that piano may not be my main thing, and that is okay. Number two, I realized she put away her teacher's pride for me. For a piano teacher who at that point, she was already in her mid to late 50s, I think. She herself was a child prodigy. She was performing concertos by the time she was like 11. Even when I look back and I look at 14-year-old me playing the flute, honestly, I would think to myself, wow, you have a long way to go. You kind of suck right now. But she put away her teacher's pride completely and saw my potential. I think as a teacher, it's really easy to forget where you were when you were still learning, when you were still a student. I've sort of made it my life goal to never forget those moments. I want to remember everything about my journey and be able to help people by remembering what it felt like, to learn new things and to learn difficult things. Even though I have made that my life goal, you still have a tendency to forget how difficult some things are, that you take for granted now. I am absolutely certain that my piano teacher took a lot of things for granted by that point. She could see that there was a high chance that I would actually become a professional musician. And she did not want to stop that, even if it meant that I wasn't going to be playing the piano. There's also another part of the teacher's pride, which is that when you lose a student, at least this happens to me, and I'm going to suspect that it probably happened with her, but she didn't say it out loud. Even if you know that a student leaving you really has nothing to do with them not liking you or not enjoying your teaching, there's always that little devil's voice inside your head that says, yeah, see, you lost the student. You must not be good enough to keep this student. It's always there in every teacher's mind. I'm pretty darn certain it probably happened to her too. She valued my potential and my future career over her own personal feelings. That's how you know someone's an amazing human being, when they have that much empathy for your situation, even if it means that they're losing you as a student. And number three, on a similar note, I realized that she did an amazingly courageous and generous thing by letting me go as her student, because, when it comes down to it, she is actually losing a part of her income. I think that she had a waiting list, which is good, right? Because that means that you can go down your waiting list and have someone replace me so that she doesn't lose that much. But you're still losing a little bit because there's going to be a gap in your schedule for a while until you fill that gap with another student. Let's face it, we music teachers don't actually make a lot of money. I realize now, as a teacher myself and having lost students too, she didn't just put me before her feelings, before her pride, but she actually put me before her income. Like, this is actually like the money that she is earning to put bread on the table. She's not just frivolously spending this money. This is her like living income. When it comes to earning money from teaching, you start to realize that there's a huge gray zone. On the one hand, you need to keep track of your payments and you need to make sure that you can at least do your best to fill up as much of your schedule as possible in order to earn more money so that you can, live. But at the same time, do you sacrifice your happiness with a few really terrible students and or parents? In my case, the question for her would be, does she keep dragging me along until the bitter end just for our money? Does she let me go knowing that I will be happier, but she's also going to lose a little bit of her income? In some cases, if you really do need the money, sometimes you do have to suck it up. But in other cases, if dragging out lessons takes a mental and emotional toll on either the student or the teacher, then I would argue that it's not actually really worth the money. I mean, in the future, one of you or both of you are just going to spend that money going to therapy. Each student you come across is different, and you need to make a decision that will be healthy for both of you. And so, looking back, I realized that my piano teacher did make the healthy choice for both of us, even though it meant losing some of her income. She has ultimately become one of the biggest influences in my musical career. And one of the reasons is because she, gave me her blessing. If you guys have any similar situations that have happened to you, whether you're the teacher or the student, please comment below and let us know what happened. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and hit subscribe for new videos every Saturday. My last video is over there, and if you want to catch me during the week, my social media networks are down there. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Bye. Can you see what I have to deal with? I have no one here to focus the camera for me, so this is that metal cleaning rod that came with my first student model flute. They don't actually come out with metal cleaning rods anymore, I think. I've attached it to my Microsoft pen that has a little stylus on the top here. And the only way to make the stylus work is if your finger is actually connected to the metal part. So I decided to extend that metal part by hooking it up with my flute cleaning rod. I can actually focus myself now. What is my life?